All right. We have to open up with the cheering and introduction. All right. Welcome to GWPE. I am Manus, joined by Adani and Bodacious. How are y'all doing this evening?
Doing good, Manosk. How are you?
I'm doing great after an awesome week of wrestling. We had AEW's All Out and a great week all around. Tonight we're just talking about AEW. What is your overall opinion of All Out? In my opinion, they went exactly that. All out.
As you can see by my score, I pretty much agree with most of what happened.
I agreed with everything that happened.
Yeah, from the pre-show to the end of the night, it was. I felt like I got my money's.
What was your favorite match of the night? I think that's a hard one. I thought all the matches
really good stuff. There was a lot of stuff I didn't think I was going to see in a paper. Somebody got attacked with a syringe. You know what I mean?
I kind of counted that match out. I didn't expect to enjoy that at all. But I actually
moved up to the main card, though. That's when you knew, okay,
yeah,
because that was a pre-tape match, so they knew that it was going to be pretty good.
Well, no, the only reason it got moved to the main card because of the pre-tape match was because of the fans on social media complaining about that being on the pre-card rather than on the card itself. They felt like there's not enough women representation on the main card, so
I'll give you that, but I feel like if it was on the pre-card, I think it would have resulted in even more buys because that was a crazy match.
It should have been on the pre-card.
That starting off the pay-per-view, I was like, boy, I'm sold. This is freaking crazy. Nani comes into the living room and she's like, "Is that a syringe?" She's the leg with the syringe. You're not going to see that on WWE. And I did get corrected that apparently that has happened on WWE before, but a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a very entertaining match. All right, let's talk about.
But boy, if I have to pick my favorite match of the night, it has to be. Oh gosh, there's so many good matches.
Yeah, I know. I thought about that. I don't know if I have a favorite,
but I'm gonna go with the main event. I like the story that was told. I appreciate the use of the finishing move, even though you weren't supposed to, and that they at least didn't make me feel stupid about it by turning the refs back, and it was like a big thing. So, yeah, I like that.
See, my favorite was actually the 21-man Battle Royal. Because I love Battle Royals. I love the Royal Rumble, and I love each Cena Battle Royals. Going into it, not knowing who's going to win. No one had a clue. You couldn't find on dirt sheets or anything like that. And it coming down to Lance Archer and Eddie Kingston at the end. I thought Eddie Kingston was actually going to win it.
Yeah. I was really mad that he was getting mad about the snake. I was like, really? Jake the Snake Roberts, get out of here, you fool. So freaking mad.
But I think what knocked the wind out of that match for a lot of people was the Seidel incident when he came in. It was like 117 degrees in the ring, and so the material they used for the ring rope was sweating. But when he was going up there doing his little shooting star press or whatever, he slipped on the rope and almost decapitated himself coming down. Yeah, there was
a lot of moments like that through the whole card, but that one in particular, what I appreciated was after the card, a couple days later, Seidel did a tweet, and he was like, "For now on, banana peels are barred from ringside."
But a lot of people were complaining that ruined the match for them, but I was like, it was an incident. I mean, that's nothing anyone could control, and he was able to finish out the match, and the rest of the match was good.
That one I wasn't mad about. If there's a botch that I'm mad that a match finished, it would be the one that happened later.
That was the next topic. The last man standing, Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. A lot of controversy with that match. People are still talking about it all week long. And so, for those who didn't see it, they were on a lift, and I guess
to start the match. They
both came down, and Matt Hardy was supposed to slam it against the table on the ground. Well, his head missed the table, and his head hit the concrete floor. And he was laying there for a good 45 seconds, like he was out of it.
And then he tried to get up.
Yeah, and then once he tried getting up, Tony Khan called off the match. Like they rang the bell, the match was over.
And you could tell by the look on his eyes, like he was not there.
Yeah, and they had Dr. Sampson come and check on him, and the camera kept trying to pull away, but you can see Matt fighting them off, and it was like a good 3 minutes or so, and it looked like they rang.
Yeah, they rang the bell. The match was over, and it just kept. Not to be funny about it, but last week I said Matt Hardy was probably going to try to kill himself in the match. But please don't do that, Matt Hardy. We like you, okay? Because that was really scary.
Yeah, after a couple of minutes, Dr. Sampson cleared him, and they went ahead. Matt Hardy still wanted to finish the match off, and then he cleared him, and there was no concussion based on whatever test he ran at that time. And
based on how you're describing it, it just if you didn't watch it, it sounds like what you're saying is that it went from this straight to that. But there was they cut away. There's the announcers talking, they're trying to figure out what they're doing next, and then all of a sudden they just happen to pan over here, and here they come.
It was a good several minutes.
Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy are fighting through the freaking crowd.
They said it was about 3 minutes
they're coming back
of him checking him because the camera was following and on Sammy, and they kept showing the doctor checking on Hardy. And they kept showing Sammy walking away, walking back to the ring, and so it was good 3 to 4 minutes of them checking him. But a lot of people said that's not enough time to do a concussion protocol or anything.
That's true.
But at the same time, the doctor was there checking on him, so if the doctor okayed it, and Matt Hardy was comfortable doing it, and they completed it, and then I don't think they should have continued with it. I think they should have just called off for the night and went on and did the match at a later date and time. But as they explained, Matt Hardy is one of those old school veterans who, back in the 90s and the early 2000s, they're used to working through concussion. So even if it was a concussion, he would still want to go and power through it just to complete the match.
It's just sad that they put that that stipulation on the match, because then it made it so that they had to do the rest of the match. You know what I mean? If they would have just been able to end it there, I feel like they would have. But because of that stipulation, and they knew that they had stuff for Matt Hardy to do, they had to get to the end. I feel like that's the only reason, and they're all trying to cover themselves by saying it's not it. But to me, that's what it looks like.
But it looked like there was some type of injury. They say it's not a concussion, but there's something that would injure him. The fact that he has to be home and rest.
Yeah, because I feel like they had a lot more to go in that match, but you got the beginning spot and you got the end spot. So it was just spot and then get to the next spot and it's the end of the match. They probably had so much more to be able to tell, and I can't wait for them to get to the next match.
And then people were claiming that soured the whole rest of the pay-per-view for them, and so that's why you will hear some people hated it and thought it was their worst pay-per-view, even though it wasn't. Right. Because the match following that was one of the best women matches they've had in AEW forever, which was for the AEW World Championship, Cheetah versus Thunder Rosa. And that match and Thunder Rosa are the most talked about thing of the past several weeks.
Let me ask you something about that. Why did you change your pick?
Because I figured that they weren't going to give the belt to her, because they're going to do I figured she's going to come back and they're going to do for the NWA title.
Because you were pretty confident last week that she was.
Yeah, then I heard videos throughout the week and people talking about it, and I started thinking to myself, both Tony Khan and what's his name, Billy Corgan, keep saying there's no deal between the two companies, and that's it for her unless she wins the title. But then I'm thinking, if there was going to be a deal where they were working together with some other workers, I could see them giving her the title. But the fact that there's no deal in place, I don't see them giving the title to her then.
Even right before I was going to change my pick, but I figured I was already so adamant about it on the show that I was just going to stick with the pick. So I stuck with it. But right up to the show, I was like, boy, I bet you because everybody thinks Thunder Rosa's stronger, that she's gonna put her over. And I feel that now Sheeta's more of a. I feel more strongly towards Sheeta than I did coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So job well done. Yeah.
And yes, it was a great match. And Thunder Rosa, as announced this week, Dynamite is going to be back this upcoming week, defending the NWA title on Dynamite. All right, and then let's skip through. And they did a teaser during the pay-per-view about Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford announcing who's going to be the best man for his wedding at this week's Dynamite. And let's jump over to, what did you think of that world title match, the tag team title match? In my opinion, I thought the earlier tag match of Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express was, I mean, it was a good title match, but I thought their tag match was better than the tag championship match. But that might be because it was like almost a 4-hour pay-per-view, and by that point, wind is kind of knocked out of you.
That and it was really hot there, you know. Yeah, the Jurassic Express match was earlier in the card. You know, cooler out, and then also they're smaller guys. Because FTR, even though they're kind of small, I'd say they're medium-sized guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I've been watching the Jurassic Express the last couple months, and they seem to be putting on better and better matches anyway. And then with that said, the Young Bucks are the best tag team probably in wrestling right now. So I mean, you put those, two up and coming, a tag team that's up and coming, and one of the best ones around. You're going to have a good match for sure. And as opposed to what we have with FTR and Paige and Omega, that's more of two single stars that are performing well as a tag team, and then a tag team, but their styles are not real flashy styles. So
and my whole question about it is, okay, FTR are now the world tag team champion, and they are clearly heels, and the Young Bucks just are pretty much for the past couple of weeks have been going the heel route. So we can't have a heel Young Bucks versus heel FTR. So I'm wondering something's gonna happen between now and then. Or I'm guessing FTR is gonna go face.
Well, you got FTR facing Private Party next week, so
they're not gonna drop. They're not gonna drop it anytime soon.
Well, no, I know that, but what I'm saying is that's another. The Private Party is a face group, so you have them facing at least a face group to start off at. And then, if they're building up Jurassic Express, which Jurassic Express just got a win over the Lucha Bros. So it's, there might be building Jurassic Express to be that next top tier face tag team.
But I know the biggest thing they've been working on ever since signing FTR, before they even created AEW, is Young Bucks versus FTR for who's the greatest tag team in the world. And go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, I think AEW doesn't really give a crap about heel and face.
They don't, but they do.
Episodes of Dynamite where they'll have Butcher and Blade versus one of the members of teams of Dark Order, or they'll have Eddie Kingston versus Lance Archer as a feud. You know what I mean? They just do stuff like that.
But even
I feel like
Cody, Cody came on to clarify what he meant. He meant he's not gonna say, "Oh, this guy is the classic comic book good guy. This guy, the classic comic book bad guy." Mm-hmm. You're gonna have bad guys doing good stuff people are cheering for. And you have good guys making moves and decisions that people are sometimes gonna boo for. They're trying to make it more realistic, where no one's truly good or evil, but people will still have somebody who's gonna be more that face route that they can cheer for, and you're always gonna have that one that you're gonna boo for. But they're just not going to clearly say, this is our top heel and this is our top babyface type deal.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna pull that trigger until they get at least. I don't think they're gonna pull that trigger for FTR versus Young Bucks before they can get at least 50% fans in there.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, they should get 100% fans.
Yeah,
All right, Mimosa Mayhem.
I might be waiting 2 years for that to happen.
No, it's coming to an end. Trying to be positive.
Yeah.
What's your opinion of Mimosa Mayhem? I know a lot of people didn't like it. I was entertained. I said a lot of people didn't like it, but I was entertained by it.
I mean, it was a gimmick match. You know what I mean? And it lived up to the gimmick. I mean, they did anything they could possibly. And I feel like that spot at the beginning of the match where I think it was Cassidy that ended up going through that table of the champagne. I don't even think that was on purpose. I think that thing just broke.
Mm-hmm.
Because it looked like a shard of glass from the bottle, like in his back. Yeah, that was a pretty sick match, but I liked it. I didn't really like the ending. Kind of seemed a little flat. I don't know, but it's really hard, I think, to
especially with that heat.
Yeah, the heat, and then trying to get exactly into that vat, I guess I'll call it, of Mimosa. And then the final match of the night was the World Heavyweight Championship between Moxley and MJF, which I thought was a great match. I mean, I loved how the ending played out.
I would have liked to see MJF win, but yeah. I mean, it's still...
Yeah.
Still.
But as people pointed out, how are you going to get MJF versus Archer if MJF would have won? But then one of those would have to be a heel right now. Moxley's a perfect opponent for Archer right now.
And that'll be in a month, right? That'll be at like the anniversary edition of
the anniversary
in
October. Yeah, that's gonna be good. But overall, for me, it was as good as all their other pay-per-views that have been so far, and I was not disappointed at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if those botches hadn't happened, it probably would have been the best event of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But it was on par with what it needed to be.
I mean, the botches were outside their control, and so it wasn't anything like poorly booked.
No. I mean, even though I wrongly picked a lot of them, I don't really feel like there was any bad picks that you could have gone. Like they've built a lot of really strong people. You know what I mean? Like in WWE, you pick the wrong pick, and then your champion sucks, and you know what I mean, he's gone the next week. AEW, you give the belt to a different guy, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, this guy's got the belt, and all right, let's see what he can do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then
like now the Dark Order is like a really big deal because he got the belt.
Yep. He's probably gonna be holding that until Cody returns. And then AEW this week was the aftermath of All Out,
Mm-hmm.
which apparently actually helped with their views because they scored over 1 million views for the first time this year. It was a big deal. I mean, for that, let's see, the most talked. Let's see, for that you had Joey Janela.
Do you know what really helped that, though?
The Dynamite and NXT being on different nights?
I guess a little bit, yeah. But whenever TNA was on Spike, even when Hogan and Bischoff were there, whenever Hogan would go on a show, it would be WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other night, I was watching the NBA playoffs, and who was there in the stands? Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy.
Jungle Boy,
It said AEW superstars. Or wrestlers, I'm sorry, AEW wrestlers is what it said. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
Yeah.
And
kids love them.
Like, this is really cool. Like, real cross-platform, cross-channel brand. Yeah.
And you know what I love? The fact that, them sitting on the front row on the camera, that Luchasaurus still had the mask.
Yeah, the mask on, yeah.
I showed my wife his birth certificate the other day. She just shook her head.
It was kind of funny the fact that like he's got the opening right here under his mask, so it's like the reverse of the kind of mask that you should have.
When AEW was here back in February, I took a brother and some friends to it, and like people that normally go with me when I go to like the live Raws here, and then they don't even watch wrestling, but they said there's something about this. I really enjoyed this a lot more live. Like it's something like exciting and fun, and like there was no dark like down slow periods at all, because like even during commercial break, Justin Roberts in the ring engaging with the audience, it's like everybody was excited to be there, and it was like a party.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the vibe people get when they're advertising for AEW on the NBA shows and so on.
But yeah, so back to Dynamite.
Yeah. The negative I had from Dynamite, I mean, okay, I like Kay Conti. I want to see them push her to the moon, but I didn't like the squash match she had with Nyla Rose. It wasn't really a squash match, but it kind of felt more of a squash.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't, but it felt that way because that's what matches with big women always feel like. Like,
yeah, I don't think they should have paired her against Nyla, but I think they did that on purpose to give her a loss to kind of build up the angle of her joining Dark Order.
Mm-hmm.
And Anna Jay. But yeah, that was probably the one match I didn't care for.
Yeah, after that match, I was like, boy, is she going to be getting let go or something? And then
they just talked about signing
I was
her.
like, oh, she wasn't even signed yet.
Yeah.
I swear, I've been watching her on the show for like months, and here she is just now signing.
Other than that, I'm kind of curious where they're going with the Team Kingston, with the Lucha Brothers at each other's throat and him trying to keep them glued together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
They should be united,
right? I mean, he shouldn't have to keep them together every week. It seems like there's, the more he pushes them together, the more likeliness for them to explode apart, so to speak. So I don't know if that's going to be a continuing trend, but I think it should not be. Like they should be a unified front if they're going to be in the, a formidable stable, especially in this, in the spectrum of what AEW already has in stables.
The three things that I personally liked in Dynamite was, yes, the Matt Hardy speech, him coming out saying he's okay and he'll be back and he's going to fight for the title. I really like the Orange Cassidy versus Angelico. It's showing a more serious Orange Cassidy and getting him prepared for a title match, which I'm guessing is going to be for the TNT title. He might be the one to take it from Brody versus Cody. And then that main event match of Dustin Rhodes versus Brody Lee was great. I wish they could have given it longer time.
That was a great match. That was a really good match.
Mm-hmm. That should have been more of a pay-per-view, or like I said, a longer full 30-minute match or something.
It made me feel bad for Dustin Rhodes that he worked for WWE for so long and they thought of him as a joke.
Yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't say thought of him as a joke, just treat him like a joke because of it's like a long-running joke they had on his father with the polka dots and stuff. Yeah. But overall, I thought it was a great Dynamite, and I hope they maintain their 1 million views.
There was something else I thought was interesting on Dynamite, but for some reason it lost me while I was. It left me while I was waiting on you talking. There was something else that happened, wasn't there?
You had John Moxley and Lance Archer.
No, it was the Ricky Starks promo.
Oh yes, I love Ricky Starks.
That was where he was Darby Allin. I loved that promo. That was awesome. Yeah. Okay. I was like, well, I had it and then I lost it. But yeah.
I'm calling it now. He has some kind of special charisma about him. He is going to be one of the top names of that company within the next 2 years. Just wait for it.
Yeah, I was definitely on the fence, pretty on the fence about him. I was like, all right, he's okay. I was like, but I really liked his promo. Well, I like this feud he's got going with Darby Allin for sure. I like that.
Both him and Kingston are gold on the microphone. You gotta eventually get a feud between those two going.
I liked the MJF where he's fired everybody.
Yeah.
And then they're kind of teasing that Wardlow's eventually going to turn.
He become their Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I like Wardlow. I think he's going to be good.
Big things coming to AEW.
And then we had one more thing as well that happened on AEW.
Which one?
Huh?
You said one more thing?
Yeah.
Then we had the reveal.
Did we not talk about the best man?
The debut.
Oh, you're right. Wow. The biggest thing
you were like leading into it like before we were talking about Dynamite.
Yeah. So
I really thought he was going to show up at the Battle Royal at All Out, and then he didn't.
Yeah. I was like, who's going to be the best man? And then see Miro. Like, holy crap. You know how hard it is to describe the segment without spoiling it for those who haven't seen it yet? Miro Day. Like, that's going to be a shirt. That's going to get them trending. And they're going to run with Miro Day. I don't want to bash the other company. But they're going to run with Miro Day. And it's going to be gold. I don't know about the whole Eminem hairdo, but yes.
I like that they're also going to let him work with New Japan.
Yeah.
That sounded like he wanted to go over there, so
It's like Matt Cardona is also going to saying he's free to work with New Japan as well. So it's not like anybody that wants to can work with New Japan. Or they said they can work with New Japan or any company as long as it doesn't conflict with any any AEW show.
Sounds good.
yeah.
I look forward to seeing Rusev in the future. Miro in the future.
All right. Let's get into our question of the week from last week. And the question came from Bodacious, and it was
Essentially, WrestleMania versus Double or Nothing, which worked better.
And in my opinion, or you want to go first, Adam? Or you want me?
I can only get. Well, I mean, I can.
That's
only
right. You haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen Double or Nothing, so I can only give my opinion based on.
What was your opinion of WrestleMania this year overall?
I like the logistically, I liked it better than previous WrestleManias because it stretched it. Well, I said previous. I mean previous in the recent era because it stretched. What normally is 8 hours of wrestling over 2 days instead of 1 day. So that was better. Other than that, I mean, it didn't feel overly special, but it still was a good, a good pay-per-view. I don't know that it. I think the only thing to take away from it is that it was across. I mean, y'all knew my stance from the beginning. I didn't think they should have WrestleMania with no fans. Like they made that call, they made that choice, and I felt like there was two options. You couldn't postpone it. It was either cancel it or let it run. And while I didn't agree with letting it run, I think they did as the best they. I mean, I feel like, and given the circumstances, they made a lot of concessions, and because of that, I mean, I feel like they should have gone a different route, but I feel like overall the matches were all still good, especially The Undertaker and AJ Styles.
All right, and then for me, I think what in my opinion, yes, Double or Nothing was better than WrestleMania this year. For WrestleMania, for me, in my opinion, is like the only three things that stood out that I enjoyed about WrestleMania was the Boneyard match, the cinematic Fiend match against John Cena,
Mm-hmm.
and Drew McIntyre winning the championship from Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
Now for Double or Nothing, what stood out the most was that really great match between MJF and Jungle Boy, the Cody versus Lance Archer for the TNT title, the Shida winning the championship from Nyla Rose,
Mm-hmm.
the really awesome technical match of John Moxley versus Brody Lee, and then the what's going to go down in history, the Stadium Stampede match. The Stadium Stampede match is still my favorite match of the year. I mean, the Stadium Stampede match alone could have been a pay-per-view itself.
Yeah, I mean,
Almost an hour.
if you haven't seen that match, you have to go and watch that match.
That was cinematic gold. Like that match alone, I could have just left it at Stadium Stampede. Now, if you had just Stadium Stampede versus just Boneyard and the Fiend match,
Mm-hmm.
then I think that'd be more competition of which one was better.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be next week's question.
And I should have, but I did not go back and watch the event. But correct me if I'm wrong. Double or Nothing was where they started to have the wrestlers behind the plexiglass at the event, right? Yep. Okay. That versus WWE at that point didn't have anybody at all. Yeah, it felt flat on watching it, and I mean, Double or Nothing led to WWE building the Thunderdome, so that's where we're at now. And Double or Nothing was a better version of what WWE tried to do, should have done good, and they were doing the everybody's getting checked and everything like that. And WrestleMania, they were supposed to be doing that, but they had a big outbreak right before some got cut. Some segments got cut and things like that. All in all, I'm not going to compare the cards because WWE fans going to like what they saw at WrestleMania, different aspects of it, because WrestleMania, it's the variety show of wrestling where you're going to, this segment's for you, that one might not be for you, but it's for my kids, and you know what I mean? So that's what WrestleMania to me is it's the variety show of wrestling. And then Double or Nothing.
Off the card, because in the end, it's going to be your opinion for you. Like, if you yourself felt that way versus what other people think.
Yeah, I mean, what just raw straight off the bat, just throw out which one you thought was better. I mean, that's just how you don't have to compare them. You can just say I thought
Double or Nothing was better as far as the overall wrestling.
Yeah.
And even the cinematic match I liked better than the Boneyard match and the John Cena match, or the Firefly Funhouse match.
Mm-hmm.
But with that said, I still uphold those other matches in a high esteem as well.
Well, okay, let's. This is the AEW show. I can say this. For me, I have no problem putting down $50 4 times a year for their pay-per-views because they've delivered on every single one. On the other company, I would have a problem if I was paying $50 for some of those pay-per-views we've been getting. Like SummerSlam, I would have gladly paid $50 for. This year's WrestleMania, not so much.
Well, I believe that having the WWE Network takes pressure off WWE to perform every pay-per-view. So
exactly.
With that said, I mean, if they had the pay-per-views at $50 a month, it would probably be the quality of the pay-per-views would probably be better.
I disagree with that only because right before the WWE Network, a lot of people were quitting buying the pay-per-views anyway because they were crap then.
We're putting some dumpster fire out there.
But then when they went from 50 to 10, the $10 was enough to go, you know what? I could shell out $10 for trash. Why not?
Yeah.
But $50, not so much. But I can remember even a couple of years ago when they were having those bragging rights, and then 2 weeks later it was this one, and then a week later it was that one. Like boom, 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 boom. Like too many freaking pay-per-views, man.
All right, we got wrap it up. We're running out of time. Adam, do you have Adani, do you have the question for next week, or do you want me to throw one out that I already have?
We also have to pick our
you're right.
Favorite of the week.
Let's go ahead and do that right now. Your main event player of the week is Bodacious.
The Moxley.
For me, most talked about woman, Thunder Rosa. Adani?
I'm gonna give mine to Ricky Starks because I was impressed by that.
And your question for next week?
Let's do. Let's go with after Street Profits. Who do you think the FTR is going to feud with?
Okay. And go ahead and do your wrap up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the AEW edition of the Greatest Wrestling Podcast Ever. Please hit a like on the video if you like the video. Please subscribe if you want to see when our page has more videos. Go and follow us on Facebook at Adani's Gamerspace. Follow us on Twitter at TheGreatestWRE1. Also, Facebook page, The Greatest Wrestling Podcast Ever. And we'll be back next week with another episode of The Greatest Wrestling Podcast Ever, AEW edition.
No, it's more like GWE.
Thank you all for watching, and this is Adani and everybody else signing out.